Hi, in this lesson, we're going to talk about Karel syntax, parentheses, and semicolons. What's that all about? As a reminder, syntax is the rules for how to write code in a programming language. And each programming language might have a different syntax. So let's look some more at Karel's syntax. Programming languages all know a certain number of basic commands. For example, the Scratch block programming language knows what to do with all of these blocks when you drag them out onto the coding area and run the code. However, if I were to make up this block, which I know what I would want it to do, the Scratch language, unfortunately, would not know what to do with this block. And so we have to know what the basic commands are of the programming language in order to program in that language. In this coding language, we see the command def. We're not going to go into what that means now, but this coding language knows what to do with that command. We're going to be programming Karel the dog, who can respond to also some specific commands in its language. Here's an example of some commands that Karel would understand. What do you notice about how these are written? You can probably tell what this program would do. It will first have Karel move, and then turn left, and then move again. In English, we might write it like this: move, turn left, and move. So why, in Karel's language, is it written like this? First of all, we've got these parentheses that are empty. Then we've got these semicolons at the end. Then we have turn left squished together as one word, and then we have them all separated out onto different lines for each command. You might be thinking, hey, this made a lot more sense when I was able to throw these blocks together if you ever did block coding. But don't worry, it will all make sense. Let's break down one line of code first. So in this move command, we first start with the command name. And as you can tell, the command's name is move, and you can't have any spaces in that command. So if you wanted a command named some combination of more than one word, you do have to kind of cram them together. Next, we have these parentheses. These parentheses are for something called parameters for this command. And we don't have any parameters, which is why these parentheses are empty. But you could think about it like this Scratch block, where this block could take any number inside of it and move that number of steps. So some commands will have parameters that you'll put in these parentheses. And then the semicolon is basically telling the programming environment, I'm done, run the line of code, and then move on. Basically, the line of code is being read from left to right, and when it hits that semicolon, then it knows that it's done reading that command and can run it. Now we're going to look at code in the Karel programming environment. We're going to actually give you some bad code, and we want you to run it before fixing it to see what happens. And what you're going to see is the environment will help you figure out what is wrong. You can maybe already tell what's wrong with these when you look at these three commands. When you go into this coming exercise, you're going to run the code. Run each one and see what error that you get. Then fix that line and then repeat with the next line. You're going to use this green run button each time that you want to test your code.